Annyeonghaseyo, fine shit. Welcome back to another episode of GOON Review. This time we're flying all the way to the south of Korea to visit 5 magnificent women in 5 hearts under one roof. Y'all should be pretty familiar with how we do it here. We got storyline, character ratings, gameplay, and capping it off with how it ranks among the other games that we have played. Let's get right into it. 5 Hearts Under One Roof starts you off as Yuman. You're almost 30, you're unemployed, and you live with your parents. Sounds pretty realistic so far. They tell you they're leaving on a business trip, but not before telling you to get a job and rent out the rooms in the house to make some money. You're introduced early on to fan shit number 1, Maosuk at the PC Bang, or Gaming Cafe to you uncultured losers out there. Apparently, you're there to print your resume for a job interview, and before you leave, you bump into your bro who seems to have some eyes for Maosuk. You run off to flag a cab, only for the cab to stop for fine shit number 2, Gran, further down the road. You pick a choice here, but either way, you'll end up taking the cab with her, coincidentally to the same location. At the interview, you answer some goofy questions and somehow pass. Before you leave for home, you get a message from a seller that she can sell you your favorite album from your favorite group, Milk Girls. At home, you find Maosuk has already come to your place to celebrate your successful job interview with drinks. She's seen the boarding house application when you visited the PC Bang earlier and decided to crash in the room next to yours. The next day, on your way to work, you bump into fan shit number 3. And surprise, surprise, it's the seller from the day before, Ming Ming, from Milk Girls. You help her out a bit, grab some drinks for your new colleagues, hand her a fan letter, and head off. After work, on your way home, you and your boss, fine shit number 2, Gran, seems to be going in the same direction. As it turns out, she's also looking for a place to crash and has seen the boarding house ad you put up from a few days ago. Along with Gran, Ming Ming also turns up as the fan letter you handed her turns out to be the ad for the boarding house. A couple days later, Maosuk sends you out to get shampoo and you run into fan shit number 4. She's returned from overseas to fulfill the promise she made from you when you were both younger. You guys can go to the arcade, playground, manga cafe, or the karaoke. At the end of it, you'll both come back from the house only for Maosuk to reveal this chick is her sister, Unbi. Now that all 4 hearts are in the room, you got 3 routes you can take. Go sort out the sibling dispute between Maosuk and Unbi, follow Gran to retrieve a hard drive for work, or accompany Ming Ming to idol practice. At the end of the day, you and the girls throw one big party and pass out. You wake up to some disturbance only to be met with questionable fine shit number 5, Sungi. She's been living in the attic of your home for God knows how long and she requests for milk. You go to retrieve it and give it to her only to be discovered by Unbi and the rest of the fine shit. You attempt to figure out who Sungi is by contacting your mom, but she leaves you with more questions than answers. Following your mother's advice, you take Sungi out to see the world because apparently she's never been outside. Maosuk turns up and asks you to go to the cafe, which you can choose to follow or continue staying with Sungi. You can pretty much unlock the endings for Maosuk or Sungi here, but the story does progress to a final chapter where all 5 fine shits basically jostle for your love. They dress up in maid outfits and serve you, but you get the point. In the end, you pick which girl you want to end up with. The storyline clearly doesn't take itself seriously. It's mainly humorous and light-hearted scenarios which the game makes it obvious is unlikely to happen in real life. It is unlike the Chinese dating games from before which attempt to infuse some realism into the scenarios. The game gets a solid 7 out of 10 for that. Now we review the HUDs. 5 Hearts Under One Roof presents you with Maosuk, Ming Ming or Mingjun, Gran, Unbi, and Sungi. Maosuk is the first house you'll meet. She's introduced as your childhood friend of 20 years. That means there's already a long history between you and her, so it might appeal to you if you're a day one type of person and loyalty is the game you talk. She has catgirl behavior from her expressions to her personality. Personally, when playing the game, I found myself drawn to her the most. She's like super cute, shy around you, but fiery and alluring in the eyes of others. Minjung, aka Ming Ming, is the second house you'll meet. The game characterizes her as your first love and former idol. She's a typical cutesy, bubbly, cherry idol type personality, and she's probably a lot of K-pop stans' favorites to go for because it's a no-brainer. You're living your fantasy. Imagine going on a date with the Seraphim's Chaewon or New Jeans' Honey. Gran is the third house and by far the most popular. I've seen every streamer under the sun go for the Gran route because who wouldn't? We're all pathetic beta male mentality these days We want to be stepped on, treated like trash, and call our dream girls mommy. Gran is the perfect personification of a mommy. She's dominant, she's demanding, and Gran's fan service is probably the strongest out of all the others in the game. She knows how to weaponize it and lure you beta male losers in like a Venus flytrap. If you're the type to watch muscle mommies squish melons with their thighs and wish the melon was your head, then yeah, you probably fit the category of players who would probably go for Gran. Unbi is the fourth huz and the antithesis to her sister Malsuk. While Malsuk is more reserved, Unbi is bolder when it comes to voicing her opinions. She knows what she wants and she'll fight to get it. This is shown very early on when you first encounter her. Without the knowledge of her parents and her sister, she flew back to marry you, and she goes around telling everyone that. Lastly, we got Sungi. The game is probably portraying her as the dumb one, but she's just as easily mistaken for a minor. A streamer even described Sungi as Diddy bait. Just to quote one example from the game, she doesn't even know what beer is. If you're into girls who infantilize themselves, do baby talk, and behave like an actual child, I tell you to seek help because you'd be the type to end up pursuing Sungi. The characters in 5 Hearts Under One Roof gets 9 out of 10, -1 for Sungi. Final category, gameplay. There's not much to say here. It plays out like all the other dating games we've seen. There's a great amount of choices to branch out from, but also choices that don't really affect much of what happens in the story. The game's UI is friendly towards international players. The subtitles are consistent and to a certain extent quite accurate. Probably the most accurate out of a bunch of other dating games, so it's easy for foreign players to play and understand. You got a couple of quick time events sprinkled in there to keep you on your toes, which is appreciated. No glitches, so all in all, good stuff. 10 out of 10. Ranking 5 Hearts Under One Roof, it goes in the A tier. If you enjoyed this breakdown of your favorite GOON games, then be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss an upload. And with that, I'll see you guys in another episode of GOON Review.
저기요. 어?